Welcome back to the Neuropreneur Rising podcast. We've got 2 drinks on the go today in true ADHD fashion because why not? I want to have coffee and stay hydrated. Don't judge me. So I'm really excited to get into today's topic. I spent so long setting up this morning because the week before last, I had like a bunch of tech issues. So that was really fun. My light behind me that's usually on has died. The ring light I'm using is probably going to die because it has the battery life of I don't know, something with no battery life. So if the lighting changes, look, we're just going to roll with it because I have realized, obviously I'm videoing these podcasts now. I think I keep trying to make myself like, okay, yeah, I need to do it like a YouTube video, and it's just not my style. Like, I'm a podcaster, I'm videoing the podcast. I got to roll with it a little bit. So I want these to feel like cozy little coffee chats, and it's just not my style. It's just not my scene. So we're going to make it more like a cozy coffee chat, basically. And I've got I was like, I need my laptop because I need to check my notes because I've got an ADHD brain. I don't know how people sit here and like roll through an entire episode with no breaks and they remember every point. I can't do that. So I was like, oh, should I have my laptop in the shot? I'm in the luteal phase as well. You know how it is. So I've got my laptop here, I've got my notes here, and we're just going to chill the fuck out, basically. Okay. So today we're going to be going into a topic I speak about a lot, and it's something that I reference a lot, which is why I believe structure actually creates more freedom for ADHD business owners. I'm really excited to tell you why. So I'm going to be going into a lot of personal examples and from my students as well. And really, so you can see, like, I'm not just chatting crap. I'm not just trying to say the things to get you to focus. But really, it's not the structure you probably think and you've probably been told. Really, it's the structures that you create for yourself that end up working. So if you know me, you know I'm not the kind of like business coach to share like my income. I just don't fuck with that stuff. Like, it's not my jam. It's not really relevant in my opinion because it's like I'll share my students' wins, but mine, I've never got why people do that. But today I am going to be sharing parts of that just so you can really see how my income went from literally there to up there when I started to incorporate structures in with my offers, my marketing, more simplicity, more structures that worked for me. So I want you to be able to see that in this episode, basically. So it has been really a wild couple of weeks. Just before I get into it, I want to just give you a little bit of a rundown of what's been going on. Obviously, I missed last week's episode because I have been overhauling the NFSA curriculum, which I was like, if I'm going to do this in a week, I can't do anything else. No one's emails were getting responded to for a week. I set my out of office on, and I was like, yeah, no, nothing's going to be happening if I'm going to focus on overhauling the curriculum. So that was really fun. I definitely had a few breakthroughs. I will go into that more at the end because I really want to give you the juice of the episode, like sharpish. But I have decided to take an NFSA, the Neuro-Friendly Sales Accelerator. If you don't know, that is my signature marketing mentorship for ADHD business owners, online business owners. I've decided to take it evergreen, which means that you do not have to wait for a launch date, which means that doors are open right now. So as I said, I will go into why and a little bit more around that at the end because I do want to get to the meat of the episode. But I'm very excited. It felt like a really, really needed thing. I guess I just didn't really have time because I have been so busy to kind of go into why that made more sense. And you know, when you are busy, I'm busy with students, I'm busy with my own marketing, you know, all of that stuff, I just create all the time, to be honest, whether it's like the curriculum or, you know, these long form content, pieces. But I am a busy bee, and I do value my work-life balance as well. So I'm also busy living. So I kind of don't get that much time to review things to that kind of scope once every few months. So yeah, it was interesting. So I'll go into that more at the end. Right. Okay. So structure, I think, is a battle that a lot of neurodivergent ADHD specifically business owners have because of their perception of what structure is, and their experience with structure and how like restrictive it feels. I always get people kind of saying, well, structure feels restrictive, or like niching feels restrictive. And really, it only feels restrictive. It only feels like that because of the way that you've been told you have to approach it, in my opinion. But the majority of the business owners who have that kind of mindset around structure, which is a big percentage, to be honest, and there's nothing, I'm not shaming anyone for that. It's just something that you will eventually have to kind of learn through, and I did as well. But the people who have that kind of outlook, again, usually from bad experiences, which is totally fair enough, they end up having the hardest time converting people into clients because they are trying to juggle multiple offers. You know, they're niche pivoting all the time. They're trying to be everywhere at once with their marketing, and they're not giving anything a fair shot because they're probably just afraid, you know, they're going to do it wrong, or they're on to the wrong track. Like a really common thing I see with ADHD is I'm afraid to stick it out because I don't want to put all my eggs in one basket, or like I'm afraid I'm doing it wrong. But when or they just, so they're like, I'm bored. But that is to your detriment for sure. And it was to mine for a really long time. But all of that creative energy, all of that like fire that kind of is the reason why you're like, I'm bored, or I'm just too creative, or whatever your kind of reasoning for that is, or I don't want to be like hemmed in. The way, like, I can't even put into words how much change you'll see when you put all of that energy into one direction, like, and you channel that. And I really cannot wait to kind of share my story around that, because you're going to hopefully hear it and be like, oh right, okay, I get it now. Because I really was a structure hater at one point. So yeah, my personal story, I mean, I always hated structure. I was in school, like, I'm really starting from like a young age. Even when I was a kid, I just didn't fit in. I hated structure. I didn't want anything to do with like, you know, rigidity or anything that was going to make me feel hemmed in. You know, in school, I literally was branded the worst behaved child in school. Wasn't my finest hour. Again, no one really understood ADHD when I was at school, in women, in girls. And I actually got branded, well, misdiagnosed with ODD, which is oppositional defiance disorder. And that basically means that you say no to everything. Like, go and sit in the hall, no. Go to your lesson, no. The fact, I didn't even know that was a thing. I laugh now because it's so hilarious that it's like they diagnosed me with anything but ADHD, and it's just hilarious to me. But that was how I was. It was like, yeah, like go and do this. No, I just, if I can understand it, I was like, I'm not doing it. Like I really used to say to teachers, look, your lesson sucks and I'm really bored, I really don't want to offend you, but it's shit, so I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go and do my own study, like out in the hall. And they'd be like, yeah, that's not on. Obviously I mean, I probably did say it like that, to be honest. I was going to say I probably didn't say it like that, but actually I'm sure I did it if they riled me up enough. So yeah, look, and I really struggled in the workplace. I really struggled to hold down any job. I was always job hopping. I was always, you know, sticking around for kind of 2-3 months. And then as soon as a boss kind of pissed me off, or I was asked to do something in a way that really didn't suit me, I just knew as soon as I did that, I was going to fail. So I just thought, right, on to the next. You know, I fail when I am in structures that do not suit me, and I thrive when I'm in structures that do suit me. And I really think that that's the difference, and that is why a lot of ADHDers tend to fail at school, in the workplace, you know, and in turn in business. And I think that we kind of have this thought of, well, I'm in business, so I'm doing my own thing, and you know, I shouldn't be failing, I shouldn't be struggling, you know what I mean? And so it really doesn't work like that. It's totally down to, are you using the structures that work for you? Are you running your business in a way that works for you? It doesn't matter if you're, you know, just running it. Are you approaching how you're running it in a way that works for you? So when I really had no structure in my business was in my first business, which was in the personal development kind of field. Very woo. I am still woo. I'm just not as woo as I was in that way. And I thought, because I was told I didn't need any structure and like I should thrive without any plans and I shouldn't have to set these things up, and it was crazy. But I felt worse like than I have ever felt in business when I had no structure. It's really funny because you'd think, oh, I feel really free and I feel really good, but clients aren't coming in. But it wasn't that. It was like I feel shit and clients aren't coming in. And yeah, it didn't feel good. It didn't feel good at all. And I remember I came because I was doing so much at once, because I was doing so many, like I had so many moving parts. I was niche hopping, like niche pivoting all the time. I had like a new offer every month. Oh, it was honestly crazy. And I kept coming back to this feeling of real unfulfillment. And it came back to the fact that I didn't know what my craft was. And I really wasn't aware of what that was. And I know now, in the big plan of like, fate or the universe or God or whatever you kind of call it, I know why that happened now, because I had to go through all of that to become, the business and marketing mentor that I am now. But at the time I was like, I'm just doing so many things, so many offers, so many pivots, so many like different focuses with my marketing and trying to appeal to people on social media rather than doing actual marketing, that I just didn't know what my craft was. And that sucked. Like that really, really sucked. And I really did that until I started to learn from one of the best mentors that I have ever learned from. She is incredible. She also has ADHD, but she is ruthlessly focused. She's hippy dippy, but she is, as structured. She's probably one of the most structured people you'll ever come across in terms of like, her need and her like philosophy around like making sure things are in order for you. So it was at the time still very social media focused, which didn't and doesn't work for me. But she really kind of instilled in me, look, if you're overwhelmed, focus on one thing for now. Just strip back the dead weight and focus on one thing. And I focused on one thing, and that thing was NFSA. And when I did, I felt like a complete different level of fulfillment, because I wasn't taking this bullshit online coaching advice of you need to have a different tier for every, or like a different offer for like different people in your audience, because that's the kind of stuff I was trying to do for a really long time. Even when I became, left my first business, in my second business, I was finding that part still hard. Because I was trying to follow that advice of like having a different offer for like different people at different stages of your audience. And I'm like, for me, that never made sense. And there's so much that I see now as where I had I had a pretty decent amount of experience before I had a business around marketing and sales from my corporate jobs and just business in general, and kind of the logic around that. And I'd always really struggled to take that stuff on board, because I'm like, to me, that doesn't make sense for a sustainable reputation-based business to keep fucking around with all these different things for different people. And then it gets diluted, and it's like, you should be able to have 6 products on Evergreen and talk to people at different stages in your content. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? I just couldn't grasp it. I was just so like, this doesn't make sense. So I was really, I really thought like, okay, this has been a long time coming. And so I focused on one thing. I trimmed off all the dead weight in my offers, and I really just made NFSA my baby, and it's still my baby. I fucking love it. I fucking love it. I have never been more fulfilled. I'm not even kidding. Like, I'm not even trying to be dramatic, but I felt like I was able to put all of that creative energy and all of that knowledge and all of that expertise into one offer that I could then build reputation with. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so much like less tired, because I'm not building a new offer every few months. I can actually work to bring people into this consistently. I can then, talk about just this in my marketing pretty much. When I'm actually promoting something, I can build reputation around this. I can scale this. That made sense. And all of that kind of business knowledge that I had in me from my own expertise and my own experience was able to come out, and I stopped listening to all the bullshit. It was telling me to do 1,000 things at once. So I was finding my own structure, and it worked out really, really well. Who knew? So, some people, like, I have this uh this woman that I'm doing a potential partnership with in terms of like some events in 26, and she's like completely opposite than me. She's in the creative service industry, and she can do like 10 things at once, and she's like, I love it. I'm like, I couldn't. It's just not the way that I work. So I appreciate we're all different, and if that's the way that you thrive right now and you're like, I want to keep doing this, but I just need to do it at scale, then that's great. But if you are struggling to get clients because you're doing that and you're feeling really unhappy, I couldn't like encourage you more to just like slow your roll, come back a little bit from it, zoom out, and maybe trim it down and just start to focus on that one thing. So yeah, the result of that as well, and this is where I kind of really want to oh, my ring light's just died. We're going to carry on because I'm just, I'm on a roll here. I'm sure you'll survive. Yeah, I need to get a better ring light. So the result of this, I planned, I persevered, and I prepped an FSA for a long time before I launched it for the first time. When I launched it, and I didn't realize these figures until last night. I was writing this draft and my notes for this episode last night, and I didn't realize how big the numbers were and how big that increase was from what I was earning every month before to then my first launch of NFSA. I increased my monthly income by 700%, which is 8x growth every month. And I put payment plans in place. So it was like reoccurring revenue. I did not realize it was that much. And then when I checked the figures last night, I was like checking them over and over. And I was like, surely it wasn't that much, but it was. So, and emotionally, I never felt better. I fucking love running the Neuro-Friendly Sales Accelerator. I love the fact that I can get excited to work with my students, and I'm so proud of the curriculum, and I'm so proud of the way it's laid out and the results that I am able to help my students achieve. And it feels even better because I know how much my students have struggled in the past with other coaching programs and other even education like programs or courses, or even just fucking taking in all of the advice on social media that you see. So I am incredibly proud, and I am genuinely so happy. And it was a risk. It did feel like a risk because I didn't want to like put all my eggs in one basket, as I put it. I felt like it was a risk, but I just felt like it was a risk I needed to take, and I knew I wanted to take. And yeah, I got to work with students so much closer than I ever was before doing, I was doing like strategy sessions. I had another coaching program before an FSA. It was very similar, but it's like doesn't even come close to what NFSA is now. But everything starts from a seed, you know what I mean? But I was doing loads of shit, and I just wasn't able, because I was promoting so much and creating so much on the back end. I think I felt really unfulfilled with that because I wasn't able to work with students like as close as I am now, and I really wanted to. And I was actually talking to one of my my students in NFSA the other day, and she had a bit of a lull week because it was like half term or something, and her clients were like off, and she had a break, and she was like, I feel really like my purpose is gone because my clients are taking a break for half term. And I was like, that is a really good way of describing it when you don't have clients and you're like a coach or even a service provider, and you just feel like, oh, my purpose is gone. And that's how I was starting to feel, because I was like, of course I'm working with clients, but not in the way and at the scope that I really want to. And I just felt like I won the fucking lottery that I'd worked really hard for when the first launch of NFSA went really well. And I was just like, oh, this is so fucking good. I just had the best summer off the back of that. I can't even put it into words. So yeah, anyway, and energy wise, I was doing less. Apart from obviously working with more students and increasing my capacity for that, which I love. Like, that is the kind of work that I could do all day that to me, it doesn't even come close to, like, when I say it doesn't feel like work, of course it does. But like the amount of like prep that I have to do like mentally to get my admin done, I fucking hate my admin. I really hate it. I need my VA back. It's not the same kind of work, but I was doing less than ever in terms of like creating new programs, and I was just refining the curriculum, and I just loved it. I really did. So anyway, I want you to know that doing less, I hope that you hearing me basically talk with that kind of passion maybe doesn't scare you so much when it comes to like doing less or just having more structure, because I was so scared of it. I was so resistant to it. I was like, I'm too creative. I'm a creative soul. I can't just do one thing. I don't want to be tied down. But oh my God, when you do that thing that you are made to do and you put it into one thing that you can scale and you can grow and you can just like make it your baby, it's just fucking trumps everything else. So yeah, this and yeah, me being like essentially resistant to that structure, flip-flopping my niche every 5 minutes, posting every day, and feeling just go on the go all the time for a long time, like years, multiple years, was kind of why I think I was so stressed in my first business, especially, and even in this business to a degree, before I focused just on one thing. And yeah, when I talk about structure, I don't mean like just your offer and having one signature offer. I really mean with, just, I guess executing things, you know what I mean? And if you are someone who, like, for example, the niche thing, and I mentioned the niche flip-flop because it's what I see so much of, is like, oh, something's not working, I'm going to change my niche again. It must be my niche. And it's like, it's probably not your actual niche. There's like your positioning, there's your messaging, there's, are you actually getting in front of the right people, or are you just posting on social media? Is it your offer? Like, there's so much that it could be. So yeah, but really my philosophy around this is, I believe that structure and having structure and creating big business success through structure literally can only happen by creating the right structure for you. And that really does kind of come from, I guess, taking a risk with what feels good for you, and then matching that up with what's actually going to work in the business world and with strategy. Because it's like, I could give examples, but if you've not got something that is like viable or what people actually want, or you're not positioning that in a way that people want, which is honestly, I know I bitch about the business coaching industry a lot, but I just I don't fuck around, sorry. But especially in like 2020 to 2021, a lot of people were just told to like basically sell air and charge 10k for it, and I feel like some people and spaces aren't over that yet. I feel like consumers are really aware of it, which is good, but I feel like some people aren't over it. So, and I don't expect that's anyone who is listening to my podcast, because I just don't think that that's the kind of people who are in my audience. And no hate, I mean, you're only doing what you've been told, but yeah, just making sure your offer is viable, and your marketing is in the right places, and you've got the strategy nailed, but you're matching that all up with how you work best and what structures really work for you. And my philosophy around this is, I think that there are 1,000 ways to market. And I believe that every single one of us are different in terms of especially having neurodivergent brains. And I really, really don't believe that there is one blueprint. I was sold that in the beginning. It's like, oh, you just need my blueprint, and like this is how the results are going to come. And I'm like, oh fuck yeah, that sounds really easy. And it doesn't. Yeah, there's no blueprint. I think that there are multiple ways to, what's that saying that's like, there's more than one way to, is it like skin a cat or something? That's actually kind of gross because I really love cats. But there's like that saying, it's like there's more than one way to, you know what I mean? And I really think that when you combine that strategy with how you work best and your unique strength, and this is literally everything that I teach in the accelerator, is using your unique strengths and using how you work best and putting that into the strategy, rather than trying to force yourself into the strategy and trying to like merge yourself into something you're not in order to fit this like rigidity. That's really what I believe. So yeah, I don't believe that we should all approach things the same way. Essentially, I believe that you should slow your roll, Look at what you're best at, look at what has been working for you, um, and create structures around that. You know, I always say look at your own data, it's so important. And that's your own personal data, how you feel doing things, your energy around things, and also, you know, sales coming in. And, you know, that's kind of the thing that it comes back to, is sales coming in, people talking to you. I don't, you know, views and everything like that. Yes, okay. I mean, I don't focus on social media anymore with my students, but let's say we're looking at long form content. Of course, you want to be looking at how many people you're reaching so that you can tweak, you know, things for searchability and everything like that, and, you know, what your people are interacting with. But other than that, it's sales coming in. That's really what I mean by your own data. So try not to get sidetracked with that other stuff that kind of is important but not as important as your sales. So some takeaways for you to, I guess, go away and think about. So your niche, as I said, are you kind of flip-flopping in your niche? If so, why? I think when I talk about structure, and I guess maintaining a good structure for you, the niche thing really does come up, especially like even people who have been in business for like a hot minute, like a few years, they sometimes struggle with getting clear on their niche, or they have like been niche pivoting recently, or even not recently, they might have actually continuously niche pivoted for like 2-3 years. A lot of people, I think, pivot in their niche, as I said before, they've actually given everything else in their like ecosystem of business a chance to work. You know, or it could be, as I said, there's something wrong with your offers, or there could be something wrong with your positioning, or there could be something wrong with your marketing. Do you know what, it some like so many people as well, it actually just comes down to, and again, not all the time, but a big proportion of what I've been seeing over the last like 6 months is visibility. Obviously people are and warming up, obviously, but visibility, people are like, yeah, I'm posting on socials and I'm just getting no views. And it's like, okay, what other marketing are you doing to get discoverable? And it's like, but this business coach told me I should just be focusing on socials. So what do you mean, what other marketing? And I'm like, okay, well, let's start there and work back. But yeah, look, it's there could be so many other things that, and it's normally other things before you need to start looking at pivoting your whole niche, because your niche is just like the skeleton, you know what I mean? And there's normally a missing link somewhere else, so it's probably not your niche, in my opinion. If you do struggle with that, or if you have been someone who has been known to like pivot, I do have an episode on that, and I think it is called Before You Pivot, Listen to This, or something along the lines of before you, oh no, wait. It's called Before You Say This Isn't Working, Listen to This. And then it says something about pivoting. So you might find that useful. It really goes into that in more detail. And then your offers. Oh God, this is such a, yeah, like I said, people are so obsessed with this kind of mentality of like, I just need like different tiers and different options for different people. And it's the same kind of thing as casting a wide net with your niche. Like, oh, if I can just help more people, I'll have I'll get one bite, I'll get a bite, you know what I mean? And I do think this kind of multiple offers for different people in your audience, all of this advice really has come from social media marketing. And social media marketing for service-based and coaches, in my opinion, is not smart marketing advice for longevity and sustainability in business. Sorry. People will disagree. I've done this for long enough now. Even before I had a business, I've done this long enough now, to say that most of the advice that we get as coaches and service-based online business owners is primed for social media and not real marketing. Savage but true. So look, just see what actually makes sense. And again, it's like, this is why in NFSA we start from the root and work our way out, because it's like, okay, let's go into the niche, let's go into your ideal client, let's go into all of that back end stuff, and then look at, okay, repositioning your signature offer, maybe, you know, trimming that dead weight and maybe just having one warm-up offer and then a lead magnet, seeing how you go with that. Don't try and serve everyone, for the love of everything good and holy. Just don't do it, because it's a route to disaster. And unclarity, is that a word? No, it's not. No clarity, we'll just say that. for your audience and burnout for you. And again, if you're someone who just enjoys doing that, then look at how you can weave it into one signature offer. I'd say, like, I'm someone who likes doing off the cuff things. So for example, obviously NFSA, now being evergreen, I was like, how can I do more free things to serve my audience, and then build awareness around NFSA for people who are newer in my audience as well? And what can I do it in a way that I really like doing? Like, how can I, oh my god, you know what I mean, how can I do this in a way that I really enjoy? So I was like, okay, I can do like free co-working sessions, I can do some little mini minds. I love doing the little mini experiences, I just find them so fucking fun. You know, so there's loads of things that I can do to feed that creative energy that kind of comes up more off the cuff, as well as obviously this main offer. So, you know, again, there's no right way, there's your way, and then there's just making sure that you put it into place in a way that isn't completely chaotic, and you kind of just have that balance to make sure it actually is going to be profitable and, you know, sustainable for you. So yeah, look at your offers, and look at really trimming that kind of excess weight off of your offers. Off your off. Oh god, you know what I mean. I swear, I'm so glad no one judges me on this podcast, because we're all freaking chaotic ADHD brains. So I always feel like I feel so blessed and lucky to have this audience, because I'm like, I don't have to edit shit, because no one's gonna judge the, I mean, no one judges the ums anyway, but people really don't care. But I just feel like you guys get me, you get it, we all get each other, it's so lovely. So your visibility and marketing strategy, as I kind of mentioned before, looking at where you are visible and discoverable is very, very important, especially now in the world we live in, which is social media is very, 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 very unpredictable. It's very unpredictable. People are working with, you know, very low views, very low reach, low engagement. But to be honest, I think low engagement is more about the content that you post, if I'm being totally honest. But it's not the amount of reach that you could be getting with off social opportunities, to be totally honest. And people are just there posting gung-ho like every day, 2-3 times a day, and it's so addictive that they are then waiting for scraps. And it's like, you could have so much easier of a time if you just came away from socials and focused on real world marketing and other avenues of online marketing, and being a bit patient and focusing on long form content. And again, you don't know how until you know how. So I'm not saying this is easy, and this is why I teach it. But I would just look at, you know, are you just posting every day without anything sustainable, just trying to get eyes on your content? Because also remember, you know, someone seeing your content once is not going to make them buy. Someone following you once won't guarantee you that they will see your content again. Whereas getting someone on your email list is a completely different story. You know, they have more skin in the game, they're more interested in hearing from you, and they're going to see your stuff. So anyway, you know, look at where you are getting visible. Are you getting visible in front of people who are actually searching for your solution? For example, long form content, collabs, events, guest workshops, all of that stuff, YouTube, podcast, blogging. Or are you literally just getting in front of doom scrollers on social media and like praying that someone is going to buy? Because that's not a strategy, and it's not sustainable for us, basically. And our mental health is so important, and I really do feel like I need to talk about that piece, because a lot of people who are in my online community, in my email community, they say it's gotten to the point, a lot of them, where they're like, this is affecting my mental health, and it's because these fucking apps are so addictive. So just you know, I think a big part of strategizing your business and your marketing strategy when you are a neurodivergent, when you have ADHD, when you have a brain that is maybe a little bit more sensitive to things, a part of strategy is self-love, like self-love and self-care, and boundaries is part of that strategy. That's really what I truly believe. So just taking that into account as well. So yeah, I mean, this is really what I mean when I say that more structure and more strategy allows us to have more fulfillment, essentially, more freedom, more profitability in your business. But it's got to fit you. And this is where I think this whole, like, this is my blueprint shit is never going to work. I get off that train if you are on it. I feel like most of the people listening are probably like, yeah, I was on that train, but I'm fucking off of it now, because it doesn't work like that. It doesn't even work like that for neurotypicals. This isn't me saying like, because you have an ADHD brain, like you can't follow a, no, I'm not even saying that. It just doesn't work. So, but you know, I feel like this isn't something like you have to build this way because you have ADHD. It's like you get to build this way because you have ADHD. Like, it's not a bad thing that you don't have fun doing things the normal way. It's just the way it is. So you can either be a victim of that and like, oh, yeah, I wish I was normal. Or you can be like, fuck yeah, I run a business for a reason. So, you know, this isn't the workplace. I get to build this how I want. Two ways of looking at it, you know? So I hope that gives you some thought. I hope that gave you a little bit more insight to what I mean when I say, you know, structure isn't the bad guy. You know, it's totally up to you what you want to do with that. And structure in itself is what creates that real, like long-term success in business for us. But it's got to be matched with letting your creativity play, having that real balance between work and life, and really having, I believe, a life first business, and doing it in a way that it works with your unique strengths. So your marketing becomes fun and you don't even see, like for me, this right now, what I'm doing, I don't even see it as marketing. It, like, yeah, okay, when I go to hit post and I go to like put it on my email and everything, yeah, sure, it feels like marketing. But when I'm doing it, when I'm creating it, because this content is something that, this type of content comes so natural to me, I don't sit here and think I'm marketing right now. When I go and create a social post, that feels like marketing. I fucking hate it. I hate posting short form content. It's not my vibe. So that does feel like marketing. You know what I mean? So just do it in a way that fits your unique strengths. So that really is, you know, everything that I've summed up there. My whole philosophy about how to approach this is what we do in NFSA. As I said, it's now evergreen, but you really do get my support on making this whole thing, like putting this all into a structure. But I don't tell you to do it my way. I don't tell you like, oh, this is wrong, you need to, like, of course I will give you like strategic advice, and if something is physically not going to work, I'll be like, that's not going to get you clients, but maybe we can, you know, try it a different way that's still, you know, that seldom happens anyway, but you know, I'm not going to tell you to do it my way, and I'm not going to shame you for not wanting to be on camera or not wanting to write, or not wanting to record audio, like whatever your thing, like, or not wanting to guest speak at big events, you know, and you want to do it more introvert friendly. You know, I'm not going to shame you for any of that. All I'm going to do is help you strategize that and help you find success with things that you enjoy doing. Because like, look, I'm a full believer of like, we've all got our challenges to get past, we've all got things that make us uncomfortable, we've all got things that aren't maybe as natural as they normally would. Like for me, numbers, I'm fucking crap, like, but I've got to get over that. Still getting over it every day, but you know, I believe that we've all got our shadow work to do. Like I'm a published author on a shadow workbook. However, I don't follow that kind of I guess thought around like you should push yourself to do things that you don't want to do all the time, because why the fuck is that fun? What, you should challenge yourself, of course you should. A business is a challenge every day in some like way or another, but to sorry to I don't have a drink. I'm like coughing, I'm so sorry. But to like live and breathe things that you don't want to do every day, I just don't see the point in that. So I'm so sorry, I'm like frog in my throat. So yeah, really it's about celebrating who you are and what you want to do, you know, and we build something together that's going to be fun and sustainable and profitable for you long term, and you know, also without relying on social media. You know, if you do want to use social media, use it as social media, you know, touch base with your followers, like talk in the DMs, like I'll teach you how to do that stuff. But you know, it's a great way of getting clients on board, but we don't focus on like posting social media content, and by social media I mean like Instagram and short form. Obviously we focus on long form content and the real things that move the needle long term and sustainably. So yeah, we really in NFSA we have kind of a, I guess, main 3-tier focus. So we have kind of like it's more like a 5 tier in total, but it's a 3 tier focus. We have obviously the initial phase, which is the clarity and foundations. That's where we will go into your niche, your messaging, your ideal client. We'll go into your offer. So all of that is in the clarity piece, but then it's really visibility and discoverability. Then it is community nurturing and email list building. So we focus primarily on building and nurturing your email community. And then we focus on creating your repeatable sales plan. So again, what you're going to do with your offers, basically. Are you more into launching? Do you want to sell at evergreen? That kind of thing. So we take it all the way from actually getting eyes on you in ways that feel good and sustainable and natural and confident for you, then to warming up and building and growing your email community, to having a repeatable sales plan. So you don't have things sneaking up on you and you know exactly when you're launching or selling, or how you're going to basically like get people into your offers on repeat. Because I think repeatability is really important for us neurospices. I used to be a nightmare with it, honestly, because I felt like every time I used to launch in my first business, it would always sneak up on me. And it'd be like, oh shit, like I've got another launch to do, and I just wasn't prepared. So I'm so sorry if you can hear that plane in the background. That is super loud and annoying. Sorry, I just had to take a quick pause there because that plane was really, really loud. So yeah, that is basically our process. And then we put it all into those structures and those systems that are ADHD friendly, neuro friendly. You can start tracking how your own patterns work. You can start looking at how you want to actually structure your day and structure your marketing, and just making sure everything is actually enjoyable for you rather than like it being such a drag. So yeah, we have our weekly team calls where you can come and get some hot seat coaching from me. Those are group calls, but then the actual support week on week, week on week, week on week, week on week, we have our 2 feedback days where you can basically get one-on-one support with me, and that's your kind of like structured one-to-one support. So as I said, it is super high touch as well. We actually have a new addition that wasn't always a thing in NFSA, but we have our monthly guest expert workshops as well, where I bring people in who are like experts in their niche, kind of in what we focus on in NFSA, and they come and do a guest expert workshop, and it has been so fun. We've had someone on so far, we've only done it for 2 months, so we've had someone for email list growth, and then we had someone on Friday last week for SEO. It was so fun, and it's so interesting because the people that I get in, I like to make sure they've either had experience working with people who are neurodivergent and ADHD, just because I don't want someone who's like totally out of touch with how the ADHD brain works, or they are ADHD themselves or neurodivergent themselves, and they can kind of really relate to what our mission is. And the last 2 women who have been in are both like very ADHD, and so I was just so cool to see like them bouncing off of the rest of the students, and it's just gone so well so far. So yeah, that really is it. But yeah, in terms of why I have changed NFSA to Evergreen, I really, as I said, like last week, I was just redoing all of the workbooks and the modules and everything like that. And yeah, like I said at the beginning of the episode, I don't really get the chance to slow down and kind of reassess things sometimes. And we're just coming to the end of our last cohort, and I kind of had that chance. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to start offering extensions to students now. And then I was like, does it even make sense for me to do this on launch anymore now that I'm doing this? You know, and now that the support has become more one-to-one than it ever was, really, does it make sense to have people joining cohorts where it is so one-to-one focused? Do I need to have that? So the answer was no. I couldn't. When I weighed out the pros and cons, the answer was literally no. So yeah, and it feels very aligned with everything that I teach and everything that I kind of stand for within NFSA, because I do believe and I see everyone works at their own pace, and my students work best when they are actually allowed to work at their own pace, rather than feeling like, oh, I'm really behind, or I need to catch up with so and so person. It's like, no, like it totally depends on what we're working on with your business. Some people might be like, I'm just about to, you know, start selling this offer. Some people might be like, I'm literally starting from a 0 email list, and that's my goal, is to warm up and grow my email community and then sell. Like, so you know, there's real logical reasons why everyone doesn't work at their like the same pace as well as just personal. So yeah, it is evergreen now. So I'm buzzing and it feels so much better. And it just feels like when I was looking at my kind of targets this year of like where and how I want to grow this space and welcome even more amazing students in, I was like, this needs to be evergreen. Like just for me and to match everything that I've set out, I need to have certain things in place, and having this evergreen is definitely one of them. So I'm stoked. I'm absolutely stoked. So you can join now. If you've been kind of keeping an eye on the space and you're like, okay, yeah, I'm waiting till March 31st. No more. You don't have to wait. So you can head to the page now and you can join if you've had your eye on it, and you can literally start today, which is so fucking exciting. And I'm really excited to be your coach if you feel like it's a fit. Or you can hop on a call with me. You'll see on the main page there is an option to hop on a call with me. So you can just book a call with me and we can have a face-to-face chat. I'm not one of those pressury kind of, it's not like a pressury sales call. It is really to see if it's a fit. I can answer any questions. I can make sure I feel like you are a fit, and then we can go from there. Or if you see on the page that a call time kind of doesn't really work for you with your time zone, or if calls just aren't your thing, you can just DM me at Polly Pollock Official on Instagram and we can exchange some voice notes or just talk over text. All right. Well, I hope you loved this episode and I will see you next week.